Thank you all today for joining on a Saturday again. We really appreciate that everyone's here today to learn more about MProfit. And after the last webinar, we received a lot of feedback. A lot of encouraging feedback about how we should do more of these. How the first webinar was helpful in helping you get started with MProfit and learning about various things. So what we have decided is that we will be making these webinars a more frequent occurrence, and in each webinar we'll be talking a little bit about new topics and so some new information with regards to MProfit that can help you. So today's focus, and again we've taken feedback, and what we've realized is that a lot of you wanted to understand more in detail about how to manage your stock investments. Stocks is definitely the biggest category out there, and a lot of you who use MProfit today are actively managing investments across different brokers, and you want to make sure that you're able to properly track your investments across different brokers in MProfit. So today, what we'll do is we'll go into a little more detail on the same. So I think Tanmay, we can move to the next slide.
Yeah.
So what to expect from this webinar? Firstly, I think you must have seen it in the webinar invite itself. But what we primarily are going to cover in this webinar is how you can manage multiple brokers in MProfit for your stock investments. You might be having multiple different family members who trade with different brokers. You yourself might have multiple demat accounts, and ultimately each broker provides their own kind of reporting. They have their own format of reporting, and it is not easy to consolidate everything in one place, and that is why MProfit comes in, and that's where we can enable you to firstly consolidate your historical trades into MProfit, and then also track your ongoing portfolios by means of the contract note imports that many of the existing customers here already are aware of. We'll also cover a little more detail about things like IPOs, buybacks, how to manage them in MProfit, what is the accurate and the most automated way to manage corporate actions. We'll talk a little bit about your demat transfer in, transfer out entries between brokers. That's been a question we get a lot. Then we'll also talk about how you can manage your portfolios broker wise and then consolidate them into a group, so you get both individual broker wise reporting and group level reporting for your entire family. And then what we'll do is we'll talk a little bit more about the actual reporting that MProfit provides for your stock investments. So I think that covers the agenda for today. I believe without any further delay we can get started. Tanmay, if you can just switch over to MProfit.
Sure.
Great. So as you can see, this is the MProfit screen that is open for you. Many of you who are already using MProfit, you are very familiar with this. For those who are new and evaluating MProfit just for the first time, this is the main summary screen where you can see all your assets. So today we're talking only about stocks, but as you can see on the screen, MProfit allows you to manage stocks, mutual funds, NPS, bonds, private equity, PPF, NPS, and various other assets. What we'll do is now we'll go into a little bit about importing your data. And for the purposes of this webinar, we're going to talk about two popular brokers that typically customers are importing their data from. Today we'll talk about ICICI and we'll talk about Motilal. With regards to Zerodha, I'm sure many of you already know we have an API. Tanmay, you can just point to the API. This has largely automated the import of historical data from Zerodha. We'll do another session on this, if people need help. But what we have noticed is that people are very seamlessly being able to use the Zerodha API to automate their import of the historical trade data and then use the API to sync their trades ongoing basis. So today, we'll talk about two brokers that are also very popular and that actually require you to download your historical data from the broker's back office and import it. Motilal Oswal and ICICI Direct. We'll be showing you the steps on how you can get that historical data for these two brokers, and then we'll show you how to import this data and beyond, how you set up your broker-wise portfolios for ICICI and Motilal. So Tanmay, I'll hand it over to you now. You can get started.
Sure. Thank you, Atik. So I'm just sharing my, I hope the screen is visible. So let's get started. As Atik mentioned, you can manage multiple brokers data into MProfit. So as you are seeing, we have already created one family, Mehta family. And to create the new portfolio, you have to click on add portfolio, and we will create portfolio for ICICI. So let's say Mr. Mehta is my name. So I'll create two different portfolios, Mr. Mehta ICICI and Mr. Mehta Motilal Oswal. So if you have multiple portfolios, you're dealing with multiple brokers, you can create the portfolio similarly. Okay, so you can see that the portfolio is created. On the left-hand side, you see Mr. Mehta ICICI portfolio. Now,
Tanmay, sorry to interrupt you 1 second.
yes,
I just see many comments on the chat about whether this is only for cloud or will it also be for desktop. So let me just issue one clarification
yeah,
here. Creation of portfolios broker-wise, we are today showing you the MProfit cloud interface, but for people who are using MProfit desktop, please note that you can also create similar broker-wise portfolios on MProfit desktop. And the steps that Tanmay is going to show you to request the files and import them to MProfit are also the same steps you will follow for MProfit desktop as well. The only thing is that the template name might be a little different, and if you are having some trouble finding the right template on the desktop platform, you can definitely reach out to us. But today we're going to cover the cloud platform.
okay, Atik.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we can see, I have created Mr. Mehta ICICI portfolio. Now to get any broker's data into MProfit, it's a three-step process. First step is to get your historical transactions into MProfit. Second step is to add your off-market transactions such as IPO, buyback, or any other demat transfers, and apply the auto corporate actions. And then third option is basically to automate the daily trades. So it's a three-step process to onboard any broker's data into MProfit. So we'll start with ICICI Securities.
And just adding some context there, some of you
Yeah.
might wonder why do we need to go through this three-step process? Firstly, importing your historical data, then applying your corporate actions, and then automating your future imports. So I think we talked about this briefly on the last webinar, but just to recap, transaction level details are extremely essential if you want your performance insights such as your IRR, your XIRR, or your capital gains or profit and loss or your unrealized gains. To get any of these insights, you need to have your transaction details imported. So that is why we recommend people to get their historical trades from their broker, all the trades that they have done until today when they are just about to start using MProfit. Secondly, they will have to go and find their IPOs and buyback entries. The reason for this is because IPOs and buybacks are not typically reported in the historical trade report that you import from your broker's back office. Once you have taken stock of these two pieces, the only thing that is left is applying the corporate actions. And the corporate actions is also something which are not typically provided in the broker's report. So what MProfit does is we automate the application of corporate actions such as your bonuses, splits, mergers, demergers, and dividends. And once that is done, your opening balances are properly up to date in MProfit from a transaction standpoint as well. And then MProfit can start providing you your accurate XIRR, your accurate capital gain details, which otherwise would not be possible if you only synced your holding level details. Holdings only give you an asset allocation picture. They do not give you transaction level performance insights. So that is the main reason why this process should be followed in MProfit.
Sure, Atik.
Yeah, thanks. You can
Yeah.
continue.
So to get started onboarding the ICICI data, now the first step is to get the historical transactions into MProfit. Now ICICI Securities provide a tradebook format, which is an Excel, which can be downloaded from ICICI Direct login. So I'll quickly show you the login first. So next tab, I have already opened the ICICI Direct login. You have to simply, this is the main dashboard screen when you log in. You have to simply click on stocks. So once you go to stocks and tradebook section, make sure to just select the period. So suppose you want to get it for last financial year, you can select the start date as 1st April 2022 and end date as 31st March 2023. And you can simply click on view. Once the report, when the transaction are displayed on the screen, you will get an option to export this report into Excel format. So you can simply click on Excel and download the Excel file. So currently ICICI is providing yearly exports. So if suppose you have last 4 years of data or last 5 years of data, you will have to generate 5 yearly files. But that will have all your detailed transactions for last 5 years, all buy and sell transactions.
So this is a one-time step you have to do to request your year-wise ICICI historical data. As Tanmay said, if you have 4 years of trading with ICICI, you'll download 4 of these files. And once you have downloaded these files for each financial year, you will be able to go and upload this to MProfit.
So as we mentioned, you can generate the ICICI Tradebook file from ICICI Direct login. In case you want to see the file, this is how the file looks like. So you can see that this is how the Excel Tradebook format looks like. This is yearly data basically. It has all the detailed transactions and you can see all the expense details as well. So this file can be directly imported into MProfit. So I'll just minimize. Now to import the data, you have to click on import section. You have to use a quick search option and here you can simply type the broker name, that is ICICI. You can see the template ICICI Direct Tradebook. So in case of ICICI Direct, you have to select this Tradebook template. It's Excel, you can see ICICI Direct Tradebook. Second one, equity and Excel. Okay, I've already added this template in the favorites list. So I'm just closing the window. On the previous screen, you can see the template. Now using this template, you can upload the file. So I'm selecting the template, clicking on upload file, and I'm selecting the file from my system. Okay, so this is one-time process. You'll have to select the family and portfolio. So I'm selecting Mehta family, and I have created separate portfolio for my ICICI broker. So I'm selecting Mr. Mehta ICICI, clicking on save. This is one-time mapping only. Once you map it, next time if you want to import second file for the same code, same client, the file will be directly imported as we save the mapping for the first time. As you can see, it has fetched transactions, and this is a preview window where you see all the different transactions which it has fetched from the file. You just have to click on confirm import to save the transactions. So this is one-time process to get your historical data. And as we mentioned, we are showing one file import, but if you have last 4 years of data, there'll be 4 yearly files for ICICI Securities. So you will be importing 4 files for the first time, one-time effort to get all your past detailed transactions into MProfit. So now the transactions are imported. As you can see, Mr. Mehta ICICI, it's showing different stocks which got imported into the portfolio. Okay, I'll quickly explain about one important feature of charges here. So basically now we fetched different transaction charges from the file, be it trade file or trade book file or a digital contract note. We fetched the detailed transaction charges, that is STT, GST, stamp charges, transaction charges. Now by default, the charges are not included in your cost for the capital gain generation. In case if you want to include it, you can simply right click on any particular stock. You can go to advanced section and then you can select transfer contract note charges. With this process, you can allocate all the expenses to your cost. This is important if you are planning to get the net capital gain report from MProfit. So by default, charges are of course picked up into the system, but not allocated automatically to the cost, that is to buy amount and sell amount.
So what we have also seen is that a lot of people, they don't necessarily allocate or load their charges to the cost while computing their capital gains, and this is something which is allowed to do from an ITR standpoint. Except for STT, you can load other charges to your cost for capital gain purposes, and this is what exactly we're trying to show right now. If you haven't done it thus far, you can just right click and use this advanced feature to transfer your contract note charges while you're computing your capital gains, or the other option which you can also enable, then we can show them the automatic allocation and transfer also.
So for ongoing trades, you can simply go to tools and there is an option for auto transfer of charges. So you need to just enable it once, and all the future trade imports, that is contract note imports, the charges will be automatically allocated to cost. So with this option, you can make it completely automatic. You don't need to manually transfer the charges.
So here, what you would have to do is by default, most people, the requirement is to enable it for your investment non-trading portfolio. So that is the option you should be selecting. The other three options, we won't go into a lot of detail right now. if we
Yes.
can cover it later. But the first option is what you want to enable if you want to load charges except STT for your delivery based trades.
Correct. Okay, so this is the first step to get your historical transactions into MProfit for any broker.
One thing I will say is that sometimes your brokers, when they provide you a capital gain report, they might have loaded the charges themselves, and some brokers, what we have seen, they don't load the charges themselves, they keep them separate. So if you ever see that there is a small difference in the capital gain between your broker and MProfit, the chances are that it is because of the charges section, which has not been allocated in either case. So one thing I would say is that there is no inaccuracy or right or wrong answer here. It is purely a question of whether you want to load the charges to your cost, which you're allowed to do. But some brokers provide you your report by showing you the charges separate, and some brokers provide you your capital gain report by loading the charges. So different brokers manage it different ways. We have given you this option to transfer your charges if you want to, and if you have some more questions on it, happy to clear it in the Q&A or after offline also.
So we completed the first step of getting historical transactions into MProfit. The second step is basically to add the off-market transactions and apply the corporate actions. Now, off-market transactions meaning there can be an IPO entry, there can be a buyback. Now, this IPO, buyback, or any demat transfer are not covered in the broker transaction statement most of the times. That is the reason we recommend you to add the off-market transactions and make the portfolio up to date. So to do that, you can right click on any particular stock. You can go to other transactions and you will find an option add off market transaction. Once you click on it, it will open up a form. You see different transaction types here. IPO right issue. There is a buyback, or if you want to add any off market trade, if you have bought something off market, you can add it from here. So let me quickly show you how to add one IPO entry. So there is one recent IPO, Aeroflex Industries, which got listed just few days back, I guess. So I'll show you how you can add that. So you can simply click on add new button. Let me see if the stock is already added in the portfolio. Okay, it's not added. So let's say it's a new stock which you are adding in your portfolio for the first time. You can click on this plus sign and you can type the stock name. So you can see Aeroflex Industries. I'm selecting it. Okay, you can enter the allotment date here. You can enter the quantity, let's say 100 quantity, price, and amount, and simply click on save. So this is how you can add the IPO or any other kind of buyback or off-market transaction into MProfit. So as you can see, Aeroflex Industries has been added. If I double click on this stock, I'll see a IPO entry. This is a transaction view where you will see all the buy, sell, all the different types of corporate actions as well. Okay, so this is the second step where first you will add the off-market transactions, and after this you need to apply the corporate actions. Now again, as Atik mentioned, we provide auto corporate action feeds from MProfit itself. This is important because not broker and broker transaction statement does not cover these corporate actions such as bonus, split, merger, demerger, dividend. We provide very quick option to apply corporate actions for your entire portfolio. The option is under actions and auto corporate actions. You can see you can auto apply dividend, split, bonus, merger, and demerger transactions. We provide the feeds from 1st April 2016 onwards. So for now, I'm just applying for this particular portfolio. So I'm selecting current portfolio and I'm selecting start date as 2016. I'm clicking on apply.
So this step in a couple of clicks is going to apply all the corporate actions from 1st April 2016 till present date. And again, this is a cloud feature. This is not on desktop. So anyone who is trying to look for this feature on desktop, unfortunately, just because the desktop platform is offline, this is not a feasible feature there. But on MProfit Cloud, you can definitely avail this automation.
Yeah. So in case of desktop, we are providing option to manually add the corporate actions. Only thing is there is no automatic option available, unlike cloud. So as you can see, it has applied different types of corporate actions. So you see split, there is a dividend, there are multiple pages. So you see bonus as well. So it basically applies all five types of corporate actions to your entire portfolio. Okay, so this is done. I'm clicking on continue. So this is already added into the portfolio now. Just one small point. In case you import the transactions, you apply the corporate actions, and then later you realize that you forgot to add certain stock transactions into MProfit. Now, if you want to undo the corporate actions, we have given the quick option. So you can simply go to tools, go to my tasks. You can go to the completed section and you will see the process you just applied. So auto corporate actions, you can click on complete status and you will see the same preview window and you will find a undo task button here. So simply undo the entire process. Okay, so you can simply click on undo and then undo the entire process to delete the corporate action which you have applied. Okay, so this is the second step where we have learned how you can add off-market transactions such as IPO, buyback, demat transfers, and also apply the corporate actions for your entire portfolio. Now, the third step is to basically set your import ongoing imports. Okay, so for that, we have a auto forward functionality available. Okay, you can automatically forward your daily contract notes received in the email to your MProfit account.
So I
So
just wanted to give a
yeah,
little bit of context here before we show the steps.
yeah.
So now, as Tanmay has explained to you, he's shown you the historical data importing for ICICI. He's shown you how to upload your buyback and IPO entries. You must have seen that this is done manually, but typically, I'm sure most of you are aware that the volume of such transactions is not very high, and they're not provided in the trade report. So you have to just make sure that you are just accounting for these in MProfit as well. And then lastly, you also auto applied your corporate actions pretty quickly, as Tanmay has shown you the step to do this. Now your portfolio is up to date until today's date. So what next? You must be wondering now that your portfolio is up to date today. How do I make sure that my portfolio remains up to date on an ongoing basis? One will be just you can always request a historical trade file and upload your transactions, but that is naturally not the most efficient way to do this. And in MProfit, what we have done is we have provided an automation for this, whereby your daily contract note file, your daily contract note is a file which contains your daily transactions in one single file, which is provided to you by your broker at the end of day. MProfit allows you to forward this file, auto forward this file from your email to your MProfit account, so that MProfit can automatically sync the transactions that have happened in any particular day and keep your portfolio up to date on an ongoing basis. This ensures that you don't need to keep checking and seeing if your data is up to date. Once you have set up a forwarding rule in your email inbox that forwards your daily contract note to MProfit, your daily trades on an ongoing basis will remain updated, and you will not need to worry about doing this manually. So that is the auto import feature that we provide. We're supporting all the brokers. I would say over 700 different brokers are probably supported in MProfit now for auto import also. And there are detailed steps in our application on how you can set up these email forwarding rules. So that is exactly what Tanmay is going to show you now. He's going to show you how to start the process of auto import to enable your daily files, daily contract note files to be auto synced to MProfit.
So first thing is you will need to add the daily contract note template. So you have to click on import. Okay, just now we have added this trade book. You can simply add ICICI Direct. So for each broker, you will find specific template. If you type the broker name and just type Delhi CN. So for ICICI Direct, we have a template called ICICI Direct Delhi CN template. That is Delhi contract note template. So I've already added this into the favorites list, as you can see. Okay, so there is an icon to set up the auto import basically. As you can see, if you can see my cursor, there is a auto import option
This
available.
little paper rocket icon is the one which you
Okay.
should click.
Yes, beside EQ mentioned.
And
So
otherwise, also you can see on the right below the drop zone, there is something called setup auto import on the below the drop
yes,
zone. Yeah.
yes,
So you can click that. Either of these two steps will take you to the same place.
right. So once you open it, you can see how you can set up the rules. So there can be different. You must be dealing with different email IDs. So let's say you are dealing with Gmail. So you can simply click on this Gmail option and you can just follow the steps to set up the auto forward rule. It's very easy step, and we are using Gmail's auto forward functionality to auto forward the specific broker specific emails to MProfit, where only contract note gets read into the system. Transactions are read from the file, and then it gets saved into the system.
So I think we had talked about this briefly last time also on the webinar. You can follow
Right.
these exact steps from Gmail to create the forwarding rule in your Gmail inbox. We also have steps for Outlook. So you can, if you are a Gmail or an Outlook Hotmail user, you can follow the steps that we are providing for either of these two email clients. These are steps again that are provided by the email client themselves to set up the auto import rule. This is not an MProfit feature. What MProfit does is once you have set up a Gmail forwarding rule that forwards only the contract note file every day to MProfit, MProfit will be able to directly import that contract note from the email that you have forwarded, and your data will get synced on a daily basis. So that's how we use Gmail and Outlook functionality. And
Right.
this is beneficial because this enables you to only forward those relevant emails. The contract note email is the only email that you want to send to MProfit. You don't want to send other emails that are provided by a broker. You only want that contract note to go to MProfit, and this forwarding rule, if you set it up properly, you will be able to make sure that only that contract note file every day gets forwarded. And this feature again has been used by a lot of MProfit customers very smoothly across brokers. So we highly recommend you using this.
Yes. So with this process, your ongoing trades can be completely automated. You don't need to basically look at MProfit or anything else. You don't need to manually upload the transactions. As soon as you receive the contract note, it will be automatically forwarded to MProfit and your transactions will be updated. Now, if you want to see how many contract notes are imported, whether it is happening properly or not, we are providing an option called import log, where you see pending and completed list. So anything is pending due to any error, you will see it under pending logs. There'll be action required from your end, whether you need to process certain mapping and then continue the import. And under completed section, you see how many different imports are completed. So we track everything. You see when the task is created, updated, you'll see the template name also. Okay. We don't store the files for the security concerns. As soon as the data is read from the file gets deleted automatically. So you will not be able to download any actual PDF or Excel file from the system once the data is saved into the system. And we are also giving option in case you find out that certain transaction statement got incorrectly imported. We are also giving option to undo that particular file. That is to delete the transactions. So you can simply click on undo and this will open up the preview, and at the bottom of the screen, you see a undo import button. If you click on it, it will simply delete all the transactions imported from that particular file. So basically, you can track all the imports happening, auto imports as well as manual imports happening into your account through the import log section.
One thing we'll definitely say is that the import log is something that if you are using MProfit, you should keep checking this regularly, maybe every few days, to make sure that there is nothing in the pending status. Let's say that there is a new, there is a new individual in your family whose data you've imported, and that portfolio has to be mapped one time. MProfit will show it as pending in the pending log. So as long as you have no pending imports found, you should be good. And we'll always provide a notification on the screen when you go to the import window if you do have any pending imports. So you will see a notification. Tanmay, if you can just go back to import.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this import log button right here, you will see a notification saying one or two, or how many ever pending imports are there. If for whatever reason an import remain pending, typically does not happen too often, but this is a good practice, a good best practice for you to ensure that your data is being correctly synced to MProfit. And the import log, you can treat it as a good audit uh, trail for yourself, to make sure that any imported file can be checked. You can see the details, on exactly when that file was imported, what transactions were imported in the file. Then, if you want, we can just quickly show them the view transaction creation feature also. If you can go to any particular transaction, You can just show that quickly. So
You mean the manual entry?
yeah, no, not manual. If you can just open in any particular transaction here, you can just click on any of these stocks.
Yeah.
So here you can see the transaction view. You can right click on a transaction and you can click on transaction creation info. This is a useful tip if you want to figure out where exactly this transaction is coming from. So let's say that I want to see exactly which file this transaction was imported from. I can right click on the buy as then I click transaction creation info and click more details. And this will show you the imported job where that particular transaction came from. So this came from an ICICI Direct Tradebook import, and this allows you to, it also helps you in just taking note of everything and reconciling everything properly. So this is something which some of you probably are not aware of, but this is a good feature for you to use.
So similarly, if the transaction has come through import, it will show that it has come through import. If you have added anything manually, like just now I have added IPO rights entry manually. So if I check the transaction creation log, it will say that this transaction was manually added by you. So it shows the source of the transaction, how the transaction has come into the portfolio, whether through import or through manual entry.
Absolutely.
Now, one important point and to understand here in regards to auto import is we allow clients to auto forward their files from multiple different email IDs. Okay, there is a chance that you or your family members are dealing with multiple different brokers and they must be receiving their contract notes on different email IDs. So we have given option where you just have to add the email ID as an authorized email sender. So that option is under tools and you will see authorized email sender option. Okay, here you just have to click on add email and add the emails which you want to, from where you want to upload, auto forward the contract note files. So this is one time process where you will just add the authorized email senders. Once this is done, you can go to that respective email ID and set the auto forward rule there. As soon as you once you do that, it will automatically forward contract notes to this particular account and portfolios will be keep on updating. Okay, so I think this covers the all three steps to complete the onboarding for any of the broker. That is, first is to get your historical transactions. Second is to enter your off-market transactions such as IPO, buyback, and apply the corporate actions. And third step is to automate the ongoing trades through MProfit auto import functionality. Okay, so this is how you can completely set up one particular broker portfolio in MProfit. I'll quickly show you a couple of options. So this is how the summary screen looks like. As we have mentioned, the data import is complete. I'll just run through the summary screen. So this is a summary screen where you see your holdings of the stocks. Okay, you see a quantity, average purchase price, amount invested, current price. We fetched the current price during market hours with a 15 minutes of delay. Then there is a today's gain, unrealized gain, and current value. If you quickly want to see the XIRR, you can simply put cursor on the current value and you see a XIRR for that particular stock. Okay. If you want to see the detailed transactions for a particular stock, you can simply double click on any particular stock and you see all the transactions. If there are any corporate actions, even those will be visible here. Okay. So this is how the summary screen looks like. In case you want to see all the different transactions, you can simply go to actions and view all transactions. This is one screen where you will see all different kinds of transactions, including your normal buy sell transactions and corporate actions as well. If you want to see, you can filter for any specific stock and you will see transactions only for that particular stock. This is to quickly see the transaction details for any particular stock. Okay, before we move to other things, I'll add one more important point here is, in case if you want to write off a particular stock, let's say there is a stock in your portfolio which is there since long and that stock is now got delisted. So you can simply write off the particular stock if you don't want to show that stock into any of the report or do not want to get considered under the capital gains. So you can simply right click on the stock, go to other transaction and you will see a write off asset option here. If you write off this, it will be removed from the reports. It will be still there in your portfolio, but it won't appear in any of the reports, capital gains or portfolio summary report. This normally is required if the stock gets suspended or delisted from the exchanges, and you don't want to remove it from the portfolio, but you don't want to see it in any of the report. So this option is useful for that. Also, one important feature is, as you can see on the summary screen, you see all the stocks which has certain holding. If you want to see the stocks which you have completely sold, currently there is no holding. There is an option under preferences. So on the top right hand side, you can go to preferences, and there's an option zero holdings. You can say show and click on apply. So you will see the stocks which are completely sold into your portfolio. So 3i Infotech, you have transacted, but now currently as on date, there is no holding. So in case you want to see the complete list of all the stocks which you have transacted in past, which you are no longer holding as on date, you can go to preferences, do show zero values, and all the zero values will be displayed on the screen. Okay, so these are two important features you can look for. Now, just like ICICI, you can set up the Motilal Oswal portfolio as well. We have already created a new portfolio, Mr. Mehta Motilal Oswal. If you want to create more portfolio, I'll just repeat the step again. You can click on add portfolio and simply add the new portfolio. So for example, Mr. Mehta Sher Khan or Mr. Mehta Zerodha. This is how you can create multiple broker-wise portfolios in MProfit. Okay, so we'll just quickly talk about Motilal Oswal, how you can get the file. We'll not go through the entire process again, but we'll quickly talk about which file formats are required. So in case of Motilal Oswal, to get your historical transactions, we recommend to get BISOP's trade details file. Okay, so I have opened Motilal Oswal back office here, which you can see. So I'll just guide you through the path where exactly you have to go to generate BISOP's trade report. Okay, so this is the main dashboard. You have to click on report section. From the other reports, you have to click on client dashboard. This will open another tab where you have to click on BO reports, that is back office reports. Then you can go to reports, trade, and then there is an option trade details and summary. You'll have to generate this report, which will have all detailed transactions. So select financial year, exchange is fine. You can keep it all. Segment is cash. Make sure that report type you are selecting is detail. Okay, because we need detailed transactions along with all the expenses. Okay, once you select this, just click on view to generate the report. Once the report is generated, you will on the top right hand side, you will see option to export this report into Excel format. Okay, in case you want to see how the report looks like, I have already opened it in Excel. So this is how the report looks like. This is an Excel report again. It has again all the detailed transaction information available along with the expenses. So you see GST, stamp duty, STT, all the details, all the charges. So now the report which I showed you, that is BISOP's trade details Excel statement. To import that, you have to again go to import section, and you can search for using quick search option. You can simply type Motilal. And you see a template here, Motilal Oswal BISOP trade details. That is the third template. You can select the template and simply add the template. I've already added the template, so it's showing that it's already added in the favorites list. This is the template. Now through this template, you can simply upload the file. Now for now, we are not going to go through the entire process again. So we have already imported the data in Motilal Oswal portfolio. Okay, so this is how you can set up multiple broker portfolios in MProfit. Now we'll
one thing I wanted to add here. So a lot of questions about whether we'll be talking about Sher Khan, Angel, whether these brokers are supported, HDFC. Seeing many of these comments, absolutely, MProfit does support. We are just showing you today, in the interest of time, we are showing you two brokers. Today's brokers we selected were ICICI and Motilal Oswal. We do hope to have similar sessions for other brokers also in the future. Yeah, we'll be covering some of the other brokers such as Angel, Sher Khan, HDFC. And there are also steps available in our help center on how to request your transaction statements for these brokers already. So, you can go to the import guide section in MProfit's help center at help.mprofit.in, and you will be able to find some of the popular brokers there. Even after that, if you are not able to follow the steps, or if the steps are not clear enough for you, then please, by all means, reach out to us at support@mprofit.in. We have a team that helps you to get started. And we have a team of specialists who can actually tell you and guide you to request statements from any broker. So, please do reach out to us if you have any questions on this.
Sure,
And
Abhi. So,
yeah. Then my one thing I wanted to also talk about was
yeah.
the grouping feature. So as here you can see, we have recommended that you create two portfolios. If you are, let's say, Mr. Mehta, and you are trading with ICICI and Motilal Oswal both, we did recommend that you create two separate portfolios for ICICI and Motilal Oswal so that you can track both of them separately. But that does not mean that you should not be tracking them at a consolidated level too. We definitely want you to see the group level insights across both ICICI and Motilal Oswal. For that purpose, we have created a family group portfolio by default. Any single family that you manage in MProfit, you will by default see a family group that aggregates every single asset from all the portfolios in that particular family. And here you can see that in this family group, we have Mr. Mehta's ICICI and Motilal portfolio consolidated, so that you can see your combined portfolio value at any time. You can see your combined XIRR at any time, and you can see various other metrics that you are seeing at an individual level as well. So while you compute and create your capital gain reports individually, broker and portfolio wise, we also provide you a group level report where you can at least track the portfolio valuation, see the XIRR, and get a variety of different insights here. Tanmay, is there any asset here which can show them a split of across both portfolios?
Currently not, but let me
Okay.
add one stock quickly to show you, so we can show the group how it looks like.
So Tanmay is just going to quickly manually add one transaction to show you how, if you have the same stock in two different portfolios. For example, if I bought an asset in both the ICICI and Motilal portfolios, how I'll be able to see that same asset in the group. So Alankit out here will be present in both of these portfolios. So as you can see in the group portfolio, you can see the combined holding for Alankit, and you can also see portfolio wise holding under that as a drop down. And this is a feature which we are providing for all assets that you hold.
So
Another thing I
it
would
will
also like.
basically help you in this case where you don't need to go to individual broker login and to see which stocks you're holding. With MProfit group functionality, you will see the complete stock details even if you're holding at multiple DMATs or multiple brokers.
Right, absolutely. And one last thing on the group feature, what you can see is what you can do is you can also create a custom group. So the family group is created by default, but let's say that you had portfolios for Mrs. Mehta also, and you wanted to just see Mr. Mehta's consolidated holding and Mrs. Mehta's consolidated holding separately. Then we can create a custom group that only includes two portfolios. In this
Yeah.
case, there are
So
only two,
yeah,
so it will be the same.
let me add one more portfolio. Let's say Mrs. Mehta. So let's say there are three different portfolios and you want to see only two portfolio as a consolidated view. So what you can do, you can create a custom group. You can right click on a group, say new group. You can name it anything like let's say Mr. Mehta group. And you can link only Mr. Mehta's portfolio in this case. That is Mr. Mehta ICICI and Mr. Mehta Motilal Oswal. So you can create custom groups as well with different combination of different portfolios.
So as Tanmay just showed you, you can create groups for each family member also. So if you have three family members, each family member is trading with two different brokers. So you can create broker-wise portfolios for each family member, and then you can also group the broker-wise portfolios for each family member to create an individual group. So you'll have Mr. Mehta, ICICI Motilal, you'll have Mrs. Mehta, for example, ICICI Motilal, and then you can have a Mr. Mehta group, you can have a Mrs. Mehta group, and overall you can also have a family group. So what this does is it gives you multiple levels of reporting. You can see data for just one person, you can see data just for one broker, you can see data just for the overall family also. And similarly, if you had created a Mrs. Mehta ICICI portfolio and you wanted to create an ICICI group to see how the investments are doing under ICICI, you can create a Mr. Mehta and Mrs. Mehta ICICI group as well. So we are allowing you the flexibility to create any different permutation and combination of groups among the portfolios that you manage. And that is a flexibility that MProfit offers you to make sure that you are able to track your returns as per your requirement. And
Right.
just one question about, I just came up on my screen. Can you create groups in desktop? Yes, you can definitely create similar groups in MProfit desktop as well.
Sure. So we'll quickly go over the next point, that is how to manage your stock transfer between DMATs or brokers. Okay, so we have made it very easy to transfer stocks between one portfolio to another or one broker to another. I'll quickly show you the option. So let's say you are into ICICI, you are transferring, let's say Amal Limited stock to Motilal Oswal DMAT. Okay. Now in MProfit also you will have to show this effect, because you will transfer this stock to Motilal Oswal, or maybe you will sell it there. So what you have to do in MProfit is, you have purchased this stock through ICICI, but you are transferring it to Motilal Oswal DMAT, and then you are selling it. So in MProfit, ICICI portfolio will show a stock. You can simply right click on it, go to advanced, and you will see option transfer asset to another portfolio. Okay, you can enter the transfer date, select the two portfolio, that is Motilal Oswal portfolio. So ICICI, from ICICI portfolio, it will be transferred to Motilal Oswal portfolio. You can either transfer custom quantity, that is specific quantity, or you can transfer full quantity as well. Once you click on save, it will transfer the entire quantity to Motilal Oswal portfolio. So now as you have seen, that stock is removed from the screen because we have set it as a hide zero values, and this has become now zero. Now if I go to Motilal Oswal, you will see Amal Limited here. So if I double click on it, it will show that this is a transferred in entry. Okay, transfer in entry, which is coming from the ICICI portfolios. ICICI portfolio. So this is how you can perform the transfers between one portfolio to another portfolio. This is mainly to track DMAT transfers. If you are transferring stock, you are buying the stock in one DMAT, but you are transferring to another DMAT for selling purpose. So in this case, in MProfit also, as you are managing broker-wise portfolios, you'll have to transfer the stock from one DMAT to another DMAT, or one broker to another broker, and then you can sell it. So suppose you are selling this particular Amal Limited stock later on, and you will import Motilal Oswal contract note, then it will be properly handled. You will get the proper capital gain. Now, in this case, please be rest assured that we are considering the original purchase date in this case. So for example, we have transferred this as on 2nd of September. You will sell it, let's say, on 5th of September after few days, but it will actually consider the original purchase price of the original purchase date of the stock. So if this stock is bought, let's say 2 years ago, it will actually consider that particular date for the capital gain calculation. So this is one important feature we have. And I think we have almost covered all the different points. We can
Right.
to the report section now.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So I think what we'll do now is that we'll just talk a little bit about the reporting that you can get for your stocks. We talked about this last time also, that for any particular stock, you can get your XIRR report for any particular asset class as well. So Tanmay, we can just open this XIRR report once. For those who want to see their entire the XIRR for all their stocks in one report, and not just stocks, you can get every single asset as well. You can get an XIRR report which gives you many different metrics, including a total investment, total withdrawal, total income, and absolute gain, and total gain, and the annualized return both. So we have a detailed XIRR report for you, where once you have imported all your transactions, you can simply go ahead and generate this report from the report section. Then we can just show them how to access this once, just quickly, in case someone missed it.
Yeah. So to access the report, you can go to individual portfolio or group portfolio. This XIRR report is available on both the levels. From the individual portfolio, on the right hand side, you see a report section. You can click on this reports. Under performance, there is an annualized return XIRR report. So we are showing you the sample, but you need to click on this all assets or stocks button to generate the actual XIRR report.
Correct.
And as Atin mentioned, we show 3 levels of XIRR. One is for your entire portfolio. Another is for specific asset class. Let's say for all the stocks, what is the XIRR? As you can see in this on the screen, you see 12.61% for entire stock. And the third level is basically for individual asset also. So for 8K mile software services, 10.77% is the XIRR. So XIRR is available on 3 different levels. And as I mentioned earlier, if you don't want to go to report to see XIRR, if you want to quickly see the XIRR for any of the stock, you can simply put cursor from the summary screen. You can simply put cursor on the current value to see the XIRR. Similarly,
Right.
cursor on the entire stock level also to see asset class level XIRR. Like all the stocks, what is the XIRR?
Right. So today we won't talk about all the reports. There are multiple reports available out there, but in the interest of time, we also want to go to the Q&A session soon. What we'll do is we'll just show you the capital gains. We'll show you the ITR format report once. There have been some questions about capital gains. Capital gains and MProfit for stocks, they do account for the long-term capital gain grandfathering clause. So, it does make sure that your long-term capital gains are properly grandfathered as per the grandfathering rule. So Tanmay, you can just open a sample report once.
Sure.
And the capital gains and MProfit are bifurcated for intraday, short term, long term. You will get ISIN details also on for each stock in the capital gain report as is mandated. Secondly, we'll also be showing you what the fair market value is on 31st January, and then we'll show you what your true cost of acquisition is for each asset. So you can just simply download this capital gain ITR report once you have imported all your data to MProfit to get your capital gains. Further than that, we also provide you capital gains that can directly be synced with other tax filing softwares. And we talked about this last time. I'll just quickly in 1 minute cover this. We provide you reports that can then be uploaded to various other portals such as ClearTax, Winman, Computax, and also the Schedule 112A report, which goes on the government ITR portal. And that is under the main capital gains category only. You can see the Schedule 112A report. You can, once your capital gains are ready to be downloaded, you can download the report in these formats. So if you are downloading the Schedule 112A report for stocks, you will click the stocks icon on the screen and you will get the report there. All you need to do after that is you need to copy the data from the Schedule 112A MProfit report into the 112A template that is provided to you and then upload it to the government ITR portal. Same for ClearTax, same for Winman. We provide the ready-made capital gain report. You have to just copy the relevant columns into the ClearTax or the Winman template and then upload it for your tax filing purposes. So that's just something on capital gains. And I think in the interest of time today, what we would like to cover, and I'm sure many of you are excited to to hear more about this, is the new analytics features that we provide. We're going to do a proper webinar on the new analytics app that MProfit is providing, which is now giving you period-wise XIRR, giving you your comparative performance against indices, is giving you sector-wise, market cap-wise allocation. This is the new MProfit that we have launched in the first phase. And we will be doing a detailed webinar on this separately. This is available to both MProfit cloud users and MProfit desktop users who are syncing their data to cloud. So anyone who is using MProfit will be able to see these new features here. So for stocks specifically today, quickly we can talk about what new enhancements have come here. So firstly, what we'll talk about, Tanmay, is for stocks and ETFs. Here you will be able to see your today's performance, how your stocks and ETFs today have moved versus different market indices. So you can see how today your stocks have moved against the BSE Sensex or the Nifty 50 or the S&P, the BSE Healthcare Index, for example. And we are giving you the functionality to also filter and choose which indices you want here. So Tanmay, you can just click that small little filter icon on today's performance.
Yeah.
And here you can select your top 5 indices that you want to track on today's performance. We'll go into more detail here. So this is just to quickly show you what we are built. And then below that, we've added new sections. One is today's movers. You can see which stocks are your top gainers and your top losers today. You can also see your watch list. And the watch list is something where you can add and track stocks that are not necessarily part of your portfolio, but you just want to monitor what their price is, how they're moving. So we have given you a feature to add a watch list here. And below that, we provide you your regular current portfolio summary, of course, which you are already seeing in the current app as well. And below that comes the corporate action section. Now this is new again, where we show you what your recent and upcoming corporate actions are. So this is again to just keep the corporate actions on your radar that will be impacting your portfolio in the coming days. So this is more to do. So this is the today's view, which only talks about today's insights. We can move to the holdings view for stocks and ETFs. And here we've added some cool features. A lot of you wanted us to add sector-wise and market cap-wise performance. So we've definitely gone and done that. So then we'll have to go to stocks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So under stocks and ETFs, here you can see that we've added view by sector and view by market cap as new options. So here you can now start tracking how your stock portfolio is distributed across different sectors and across different market caps. And you can drill down into each particular sector. For example, if you go back to sector, Tanmay, you can click on, let's say, capital goods, and here you'll be able to see what the holdings are under this one sector, and you'll be able to track a majority of different uh, insights here, including the holding percentage of each stock. And then further, you can go one level deeper in the holding view. And in the holding view here, if I go to the individual stock level, I can see what percentage of my portfolio, what percentage of my stocks, and what percentage of my sector that particular stock comprises. So I here, for example, Schneider Electric is 38.9% of the portfolio. It's about also 38.9% of the stocks, because in this case, stocks are the only asset in the portfolio, and it's 94% of this particular sector. So we're giving you these additional insights here, which you can track. And then lastly, in the interest of time, moving a little faster, because we are going to do this in more detail in the future, talking about the performance view for stocks and ETFs. Here we are providing a lot more advanced XIRR and performance insights for your stock portfolio. You can see your overall IRR here on the top left. You can see what your first transaction date is. You can see your current value. You can see your total investment and total withdrawal here for your stock portfolio. You can see your total gain, which is then bifurcated into realized, unrealized gain, and total income as well. So these are some cool new insights we're providing. And then on the right hand side, something which was asked for by a lot of MProfit users, track your XIRR and compare it against index returns. So here, this is your IRR for any particular time period. In this case, it is all to date, but I can choose whatever time period I want. You can see the period selector up top. So you can choose any particular financial year. Above that, Tanmay, just period.
Yeah, sorry.
You can choose any particular financial year, you can choose any particular year, or you can select any month to month date, end of month to end of month date as well. You can generate uh, your period wise XIRR. We are going to add the custom XIRR, the custom date selector here also in the future. For now, we've added only financial year, and month, and all to date, but we will be adding more here as well. And you will be able to also choose which indices you want to compare your XIRR against. So you can choose whichever indices you want, like you did in the today's view. Yeah. And going down, we are providing you a complete XIRR table for all your assets, all your stocks and ETFs. So Tanmay, we can just scroll down, because this is the same as the XIRR report. And lastly, what we do is, in this view, we are also providing you advanced performance insights, which give you your 1 year, 2 year, 5 year XIRR. So if you want to go back and track your historical XIRR, what it's been 1 year or 2 year or 5 years, you can definitely do that. And you can also track your XIRR financial year wise. So meaning FY19, FY20, FY21. If I want to see my XIRR for any particular financial year, I can do that as well. In this case, we didn't have data going back so much, so that's why you're not seeing the 1 year, 2 year, 5 year.
This is a recent financial year data, maybe last year. So the report is just displayed for current financial year.
Yeah, and just this takes a few seconds, because as you know, XIRR is very computationally intensive, so it does calculate a lot of different computationally intensive data to provide you these advanced performance insights. I think that covers the end of this particular section. What we can now do is we can talk about questions now, Tanmay. So we'll open it up to questions, and we can get started on that. Thank you all for being with us. Now we'll be answering questions. So Tanmay, I'll just say the question aloud.
Sure.
So the first question is, one second, I'll just start my camera. So the first question is, how do we delete and uploaded templates from the list added by mistake. So I think the question is, how do you delete favorited templates that were added by mistake?
Sure. So let me quickly show you the option. The option, you can simply go to import section. You can select the template, and for each template, you see a I button, that is information button. You can click on this button and you will find a remove option here. So this will be removed from your template favorites list. And in case you wanted to add it back, you can simply use the quick search option again to add the template. We normally don't recommend to remove any template if you're using it. In certain cases, if the files are password protected, and if you remove the template, it will also remove the saved password into the system. But this is how it can be done.
Right.
And just one more thing, in case of desktop also, once you select the template, there is an option to remove the template from the list. So options are there for cloud as well as desktop, both the platforms.
Right. Second question is, how can we get the stock back after it has been written off?
Yeah, so in this case, you can simply delete the right of entry which you have made. So let me go to the, I'll have to see where I've added the entry, maybe in ICICI portfolio. Sorry, let me just show, like, I'll just make a write-off. You can simply delete the entry. I mean, let's say if you've added this for Adija Technologies, so along with buy sell transaction, you will see a write-off entry here. You can simply right click on that entry and say delete record. Once you do that, it will start, the stock will start appearing in your portfolio. It will start appearing in all the MProfit reports, including capital gains, portfolio summary, and all the reports.
Right. Hope that answers the question about the write-off. Third question is, when you do an email forward for an auto import of a stock, does the corporate action get automatically applied, or do you need to do that manually? This is a great question, and this is something I guess we should talk a little bit about and give a small clarification on. When you do forward when you have an auto import set up in MProfit, and let's say your daily trades are coming into MProfit by means of auto forwarding, you still need to go ahead and apply a corporate action. So corporate actions is not something that you only do one time and then it gets auto applied in the future. What you need to do is periodically, maybe say once a week or even once a day if you want, you can go to the same corporate action process with Tanmay as shown on the screen. Tanmay, you can just open that once. You
Yeah,
go
you
to
can go to actions and select
auto
auto
corporate
corporate
actions,
actions. You can
and
do it
here,
for entire family also. So it's not that you just have to go into individual portfolio and do it. If suppose you are managing 6, 7, or 10 different portfolios, you can do it for entire family. We just
right.
recommend to make sure that you have updated all the portfolios and then you apply the corporate actions.
Yeah. Yeah, so and what the one thing which I also want to add here is that you can see the time period. As soon as you've applied your corporate actions once using this tool, you will see time period as since last update, and you will be able to see when your corporate actions have been updated until. So MProfit does provide you the visibility that your corporate actions are up to date until 2nd September. And once you apply this, only the corporate actions after 2nd September will apply to your portfolio. One more thing which can potentially be useful for you is that in the new app that we showed you, the new analytics features, if you go to the today's view to the corporate action section, you can see which corporate actions are coming up. So if you see that there is a new corporate action that has come and you want to apply it, you can just come back to the main MProfit screen and you can go and click the auto corporate actions process. You right now currently will not be able to auto apply corporate actions from here. This is more of a view feature in the analytics dashboard, but you will go to the classic app, the classic view, and here you can go ahead and apply any corporate actions. And MProfit will provide you the trail of when you've applied your corporate actions until. Please do not add any corporate actions manually if you are using MProfit Cloud. Try to use this tool, because if you use the auto tool, only then can MProfit track whether you have applied a particular corporate action or not. So if you are going to apply corporate actions manually and expect MProfit to know when the corporate actions have been updated until, that might be a little challenging. So our recommendation is that if you are using this particular tool, auto corporate actions, continue using it and don't use any other manual forms of corporate action entry.
Right.
And this does not apply to buybacks and IPOs, of course. That has to happen separately. We are not providing data for that. Okay, third question is in how to pass entries in case of merger, say in Mindtree and LNT in desktop version. So I think Tanmay, you can just talk about the bulk corporate action tool
Yeah.
for
So
desktop
the
users.
on cloud as well as desktop, there is an option to manually apply the corporate actions. On the cloud, we don't recommend because we are providing automatic option. But the overall options, specific option is exactly same. On the desktop as well as on the cloud, you can simply right click on any particular stock. You can go to other transaction and you will see different options to apply corporate actions. So you see bonus, split, merger, demerger, even income, that is dividend payout. So you can simply click on add merger. These options are exactly same as on the desktop app as well. So you can click on add merger. Okay. So from here, so let's say this company is getting merged into some another company. Okay. So you can add it from here basically. Enter the merge into, that is new stock name. Let's say Infosys, you can enter the date, enter the balance shares after merger. So let's say currently you are holding 100 quantity and the merger ratio is 1:1. You can simply enter 100 again. And simply save the transaction. Exact same process for the desktop app as well. Once it is added, you will see the corporate action. This is how you can add the merger as well as any other corporate action. On the desktop, again, it's a manual process. So you'll have to find out the actual ratio, record date, X date, and then you need to enter it manually. In case of cloud, we are providing this automatically. All the ratios, all the X dates, record dates are provided by us. So you don't need to worry about anything. Just apply the auto corporate actions and it will be handled automatically.
Yeah, and Tanmay, you want to talk about the bulk feature on desktop, like just the bulk corporate action
Yeah,
feature?
yeah. So on desktop application as well as cloud, let's say you're maintaining 10 different portfolios and you're holding Infosys in 8 portfolios. Now Infosys has declared a bonus. Instead of going into individual portfolio and add bonus one by one, we are giving option to apply the bulk corporate action. So in the desktop application as well as cloud, there is an option. So you can go to tools, you can go to corporate actions. Okay. And there is an option at the bottom of the window. You can see add manually. So you can click on add.
Just to clarify, cloud users, don't please, we request you not to get confused by this. This is not for you to necessarily use because you can use the auto corporate action tool. For desktop users, to show you the same flow that you will be using on MProfit
Right.
desktop, you have to follow this add manually process. It's only for desktop users right now, even though it is on cloud.
Yeah. So you can simply click on add manually and you can select stocks. You can select, let's say bonus, click on select. You can select this, enter the X date, enter the stock name, Infosys, and you need to find out the ratios. As I mentioned, for desktop user, you will have to find out the ratio and then enter the ratio. Suppose a ratio for bonus is 1:2. For each one share, you are receiving 2 shares of bonus. So you can enter 1:2 and then click on confirm. This process will actually check, will go into each portfolio, check where you are holding Infosys stock on particular X date. If it is applicable, then it will be applied to all 8 portfolios. Exact similar option is available on the desktop application. And again, as Atik mentioned, cloud users don't have to worry about this manual option. They can simply use actions auto corporate action option to apply it automatically. All the ratios, X dates, everything is handled automatically from MProfit's end.
Right. I think we can move on to the next question. How do we get industry-wise percentage holding of our portfolio? So I think that's something we already showed sector-wise. We had shown that in the new app, analytics app, which we showed you. Tanmay, we can just quickly show that once. So here, as you can see, you can go to your stocks and ETFs. On the left, you can see under asset class, you can click stocks and ETFs. And in the view by, and the top right, you can see sector, market cap, and asset. So you click sector there and that will give you your sector wise holdings for your stock portfolio. You can click into any sector to see what the detailed holdings are for each sector. We'll do a separate webinar on this in the coming weeks or in the coming month. The next is buyback of shares can be auto fetched through contract note. Again, great question, Tanmay. Are there any brokers that provide buybacks in contract notes or?
Certain brokers are providing, but very frankly, it's very difficult to find out because buyback transactions appear as a sell transaction in contract note. So if
Correct.
you open any contract note, you will find transaction type as a sell. So it's very difficult to find out whether it's an actual sell or it's a buyback. That is the reason currently we don't support any buyback contract notes for direct import. But
Right.
as I mentioned, you can add the buyback trades easily. You can simply right click on the stock, go to other transaction, select add off market transaction. And in the transaction type section, you will see a buyback transaction type. You can simply add it from here. I hope there won't be too many buyback entries, maybe 2 or 3
Right.
entries in entire year. So this won't be a problem to just enter like 2 or 3 entries for entire year.
It is just cleaner and more accurate to manage a buyback separately, just
And
because of the
just
reasons
to
that Tanmay just said.
Yeah, and just to add one more point, buybacks are properly handled in our capital gain reports as well. So once you add it as a proper buyback transaction type, and if you're opening the capital gain report, we are giving an option to see the buyback capital gain separately. So if you go to capital gains and let's say click on stocks, in the customization section option, you will see option to only see buyback gain loss after July 15, 2019, because it is applicable from July 15, 2019 onwards. So you will see buyback gain loss separately, and that of course you need to report separately because that is, I think, it's not taxable. So it needs to be shown separately while filing the returns.
Right. Moving on to the next question, how do we give feedback on beta findings on analytics? So a great question. We have received a lot of feedback on the new beta features, the new analytics features from many of our existing users. So thank you so much for taking the time to provide this feedback. Anyone who wants to share more feedback, we are more than happy to receive this feedback because we are consolidating it and we will definitely be making improvements and fixes to the new beta features in the coming weeks and months. Please do send us your detailed feedback with a subject by email. You can keep the subject as feedback on the new beta analytics features, and you can send this email to support@mprofit.in. And the next question is, if I purchase or sold more than one stock on the same day and many brokers show consolidated charges for all the stocks traded, do you calculate transactional charges individually for each stock traded, bought or sold?
We do that definitely because there will be a contract note view. So contract note view is properly handled. So even if you are managing multiple brokers and you are transacting in the same stock, allocation happen properly. So let's say you have transacted in Infosys, in Motilal Oswal as well as ICICI. Once you allocate the charges, it will be allocated properly.
Absolutely. The next question is Yahoo Mail eligible for auto setup? Great question. Yahoo Mail, I believe, used to be eligible for auto setup previously, but we believe that they have now, changed their subscription model. There is a pro version in Yahoo. Tanmay, just correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
Yahoo is currently not available, right?
Correct. With the normal Yahoo free email service, they are not providing auto forward functionality. So even if you're using Yahoo, we will recommend to move it to some other email service provider such as Gmail. So you'll be able to auto forward the contract note emails. And in case if there is a possibility, you can upgrade the Yahoo version to Pro, and then you will get the auto forward functionality in Yahoo, and then you will be able to set up it for MProfit.
Right. Great. So next question is, how do we get capital gains, a capital gain report feature in consolidated portfolio? So one clarification here is that we are not providing a group level capital gain report, meaning that in the family group, you will not see a capital gain report that consolidates your broker wise holdings and then provides you a separate capital gain report. What is mandated, or what is usually the recommendation, is that you file your capital gains demat wise. So if you're managing ICICI and Motilal Oswal as two different portfolios, you will get capital gains for each of those two separate portfolios. But if you create a group holding, you will not get a group level capital gain report. But if you want to still get group level reporting, our recommendation is that you don't manage broker-wise portfolios in MProfit. You import both ICICI and Motilal Oswal data into one portfolio itself. In that case, MProfit will properly apply FIFO and give you your consolidated capital gain report, which takes into account FIFO at the consolidated level, not at the individual broker level. So this is, again, to clarify, there are two requirements here. Some people like to manage their capital gains broker-wise. For those people, please create your portfolios broker-wise, and you will then be able to get your capital gains accurately for each broker. There are other people who like to still get their consolidated capital gains across brokers. For those people, please do not create your portfolios broker wise. Create your portfolios create all your import all your data into one portfolio alone. So instead of creating Mr. Mehta ICICI and Mr. Mehta Motilal Oswal, you'll create one Mr. Mehta portfolio and you'll import both ICICI and Motilal data to that. Now, the one challenge there will be you will not be able to see individual broker wise reporting. Some people don't really bother about it. Some people are a little more particular and want to see broker wise reporting. So again, we are giving you the flexibility to manage your data as per your requirement, but it is totally dependent on how you want to manage your data. I hope this provides you the clarification.
Yeah.
The next question is, how do you move one portfolio from one family to another? Tanmay, you can talk about this. You can show
Yeah,
this.
so this option is available again for cloud users. There is just one version available, family office version, where you'll be able to manage multiple families. For all other versions for the cloud users, mainly Lite, Plus, or HNI, there is one family only. So you won't be able to use that feature. But if you're using family office version, or if you're using desktop multi family office product,
Or the wealth plan, or you're managing clients.
yes, then you can. There is an option available on the desktop. The option is of course there. I won't be able to show it to you now, but for cloud, the option is under actions, and you can see copy move portfolio. Okay, you won't see this option if you are not using family office product or a wealth product on cloud. Okay, so the option is under actions and copy move portfolio. So on our cloud application, we are giving both the options. On the desktop application, we do not have a copy portfolio feature. There is only move portfolio feature. So you'll be able to move particular portfolio from one family to another family. On our cloud application, we are giving both the options. You can definitely move it, which is one-time process, which will remove the portfolio from current family and will be added to new family. Okay, and copy portfolio will basically simply copy the same portfolio to new family. So you will have same portfolio in your current family as well as new family.
Great. Next question is, how secure is our data? Should we take a backup? So again, I think we covered this last time, so we'll just briefly touch upon it. We are cloud partners, Microsoft Azure. We are following all of their best practices when it comes to data security. Your data is encrypted at rest. It is encrypted in transit. We also enable you to set up two-factor authentication on your MProfit account, so that if you log in, you want an OTP to be sent to your email. We are providing that option. Tanmay, you can just show that once if you'd like in the how to go and set up 2FA.
Yeah, you can go to your My Account section and you will find the option to enable two-factor authentication.
So we highly recommend you doing this, so that anytime you're logging in from any device, MProfit will send you an OTP to your email, and you'll have to enter this confirmation code to be able to log in.
And of course, we are giving an option to save the browser. So if you enable it, you'll be able to save the browser and you don't need to get the OTP every time.
Right, right. Good point. And the next question is, should we take backups? So for desktop users, Tanmay, you want to talk a little bit about the backup protocol
Yeah,
for desktop?
so see, in terms of desktop application, all your data resides on local machine only. That is locally. It's saved in your hard disk. And there we are giving option to take the backup. So you can simply go to tools section on your desktop application and click on backup data, and you can take the backup locally. For your cloud application, we don't have a backup functionality available, but
So I'll just talk about
yeah.
that. So we don't enable users to take their own backups on cloud. As per is the protocol with any regular cloud application. And Microsoft Azure, we follow their proper backup protocols. So the data is definitely getting backed up to Microsoft Azure's cloud, and the data is stored locally in India. The data servers are hosted locally in India, both the portfolio data as well as the backup data. So absolutely secure, and in terms of backing up, we have a strict protocol in place for the same. The next question is, how can we lock the viewing access for, say, some portfolios vis-a-vis others? So good question here. If you are a single user, of course, this question does not come into relevance. But if you are someone who has multiple MProfit logins for the same account, and we do enable this. If let's say you and your brother both want to access MProfit, for your family with 2 different mobile devices, you can subscribe to an add-on. You can buy an add-on, which is typically discounted from the main subscription cost. And if you are using add-ons, you can set up proper access control in MProfit. So you can go to tools, you can go to access control there, and you can set user permissions for each user here. So in this case, we have given admin permissions for each user. But at the time of giving access, you can choose what permissions you want to give, whether you want to give only view permissions, whether you want to give edit access also, whether you want to enable only certain families, whether you want to enable all families. Within one family, you cannot selectively choose which portfolios to give access to, because one family's data is visible to the entire user. So entire family will be visible to one user. There's no way to segregate within the family which portfolios to selectively give access to. You can definitely, if you're managing multiple families in a higher plans, then you can choose which families you want to give access to them. Okay, moving on. How much ROI has been made on stocks sold? Can we see that in MProfit? What performance insights we are providing is XIRR, unrealized gain, capital gains, and total gain. We don't necessarily provide return on investment from a fundamental perspective on the stock sold. So, fundamental data, fundamentals like PE ratios and ROI and book value, all of those kinds of metrics are not currently provided in MProfit. If that is what you are referring to, we will let you know in the future if we do plan to add any fundamentals for your stock portfolio. We have a lot of this in our product pipeline, but currently not there. Next question, how can you show corporate actions and how can we add dividend directly in the portfolio? This is something we've already covered in detail. So I hope your questions have been answered by the comprehensive corporate action process which Tanmay has already covered. And in the interest of time, we'll just move on to the next question. I am uploading my data to cloud. Can I start using complete cloud? Yes. If you are uploading your data to MProfit cloud, you can use our cloud product entirely. And for those desktop users, just to give you a clarification, we have received some queries already. How do I move from desktop to cloud? We'll just talk about the protocol here. If you are a desktop user who does not currently use MProfit's accounting module, the accounting module is the module which you use to create your balance sheet, your trial balance, pass accounting entries, create your vouchers. That particular accounting module is only available on desktop. So if you are a desktop user who is not using MProfit's accounting module, we will help you migrate to MProfit cloud at no extra cost. So you can just simply send us an email saying that I am not currently using accounting and I want to migrate to cloud. And in the next few weeks, based on we have a backlog of users already who have placed migration requests. So on a first come first serve basis, we are definitely conducting desktop to cloud migrations for anyone who wants to migrate to cloud. So please bear with us. If you are ready to migrate to cloud, you don't use accounting, we'll definitely help you with this. But it'll take a little bit of time, as we are our data migration team is currently already doing a lot of desktop to cloud migrations. But if you are someone who uses accounting and who wants to continue using it, unfortunately right now you will not be able to migrate to cloud. So that is just the trade-off. If you're using accounting on desktop, then the automations on cloud are not available to you. But if you want to go for the automations on cloud and you don't want to use accounting, then by all means you can use MProfit cloud as a standalone product. Okay, next is, how do I import my rights entitlement shares sold in the market? Then if you want to just cover the rights entitlement process, I think that
So
is something which is also very useful.
in case of right entitlement sold into the market, you will simply get a sell transaction in your daily contract note. So if you import the contract note, your sell transaction will be added into the system. In case, most of the cases, this is the thing that you will get the rights entitlement sold into the contract note. You just need to import that contract note. And in certain cases, if it is not possible, you can definitely add a manual sale transaction. So you can simply go to that particular stock, or you can add a new stock from here, add a transaction, go to stocks, and you can simply add a sell transaction for that particular rights. I hope that answers the question.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Next question is, do you plan to and have two-factor authentication? We already talked about this. Yes, we already have enabled it and we showed it to you. So that question is answered. And the next question is, how can password be detected for daily contract note? Great question. Daily contract note files are typically password protected. So what MProfit does is the first time a daily contract note file comes in, your daily contract note file will come in and the import will stay as pending. You will get a notification saying password missing. You will enter the password for the daily contract note one time, and once you have done that, MProfit will save that daily contract note password so that you don't need to re-enter the password for subsequent imports. Now, this is
So
why we coming back to what we were talking about, the import log. This is why it is sometimes important to see the import log, because for example, if your password changes or a password is needed to be imported from your side, the imports will just stay as pending until the password is entered. So please
so
do keep checking your import log to make sure that you enter your password. Yeah,
yeah,
Tanmay.
I think I just want to add one more thing. So we have
Yes.
added one more feature on the password front. So
Right.
now we are giving option to save the passwords even before the import. So let's say
Right.
you're dealing with ICICI and you have three different accounts. So there will be three different PDF contract notes. Each will have a separate password, different password. So we have given option where you can simply select the template, go to I section, information section, and you will find a key icon here, basically below the latest, or you can see this particular icon, key icon. You can click on it and you can enter the passwords. So let's say
Absolutely.
if you're dealing with three different you have three different portfolios, family members portfolios who has three ICICI portfolios. So each will have different password. What you can do, you can enter one password, save it, enter the second password and save it. Like that, you can save all the passwords. For security reasons, we are not displaying the password on the screen, but it will be saved into the system. And whenever the file will be forwarded to MProfit, the system will use the password and then data will be imported. So this is something new feature we have added recently in last couple of months, I guess. So you can make a use of it. So you don't need to wait for the file to come. You can simply add the passwords here directly.
The next question. Uh, I have both trades and investments. Does MProfit allow bifurcation? And secondly, how do I have an option to modify later? Tanmay, you want to answer this question?
Yeah, so currently we are not segregating portfolios separately. Okay, so you won't be able to mark your transaction as a trading portfolio or as an investment portfolio. We do have a functionality where you can do that actually with our strategy goal module. We won't be able to cover that in detail, but that is still possible. And if you need help with that, you can reach out to us and we'll be able to guide you with that option. So it's
Yeah.
like you will be maintaining one portfolio, one main portfolio, where you will be importing all the transactions. And then you will be creating two separate portfolios, one for your trading income and one for your investment portfolio, and then you will be able to assign specific transaction to those portfolios.
So definitely this is a little more complex. So we don't recommend this for everyone. If anyone does have this specific requirement, please do reach out to us and we can guide you. Uh, we are already up on the 1.5 hour mark. Thank you all for being here. I think there's still a lot of people who are still here. But there are many questions to cover. So now I think we'll just cover the last few questions, and the other remaining ones that we aren't able to answer, we really apologize that we couldn't get to your question, and we will try our level best to answer it after the webinar. Uh, so please bear with us. Uh, how do you so the next is, before uploading the historical trade book, do we have to delete existing trades, or MProfit identifies duplicate trades? So typically one clarification here is that the historical trade book should be uploaded when you don't have any data in MProfit. It's the first time step when you're setting up your MProfit account for the first time. Once you already have existing trades in MProfit, you should use the daily contract note file to upload to set up auto import and upload your daily trades. So if you are someone who wants to upload your historical trade book, our recommendation is that you make sure that you're starting afresh with a new portfolio. Download the historical trade book files year wise from your broker and upload them. If you are trading with Zerodha, you can use the API directly, so you don't need to worry about downloading files. But to answer your question about duplicates, MProfit does have a duplicate tracking mechanism, and to a large extent, MProfit can flag duplicates absolutely accurately. But there are certain corner cases where trades are imported from different templates, or some trades are imported manually and some are imported automatically. And if there are some decimal discrepancies, we cannot guarantee that the trade will not be duplicated in certain scenarios. But if you're using the same template, typically MProfit captures duplicates very proficiently.
So we normally recommend to get your data through the single source. For example,
Yes.
for historical transactions, you're generating tradebook file or back office file. We recommend to use that only. In that case, if you import tradebook file and again you go back and generate older contract notes and import it, there are chances of data duplication. So we normally recommend to get the data through single source and then import into MProfit. And as we are on this point, I'll quickly cover in case you need, in case you want to delete the data, the option is under actions and you can go to bulk delete transaction option. From here, you can delete it for entire period or for all to date. You can select a specific period as well. This will delete all your stock transactions, that is buy sell transactions along with the corporate actions as well. So the option is available here under actions and bulk delete transactions.
Right. And then the next question is how many past years of data can be imported? Only 5 years, 10 years, or more? So the answer to your question is MProfit does not, have a limit on how many past year of data. I believe that we are, Tanmay, what
We
year are
do
we?
support from 1970.
1970, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are supporting data import from 1970. Mostly people start importing the data from, the last 5 or 6 years. What we recommend is, instead of uploading data for the last 10 years, let's say you have been trading for 10 years, a good practice would be to, let's say, start with 1st April 2016 or 2017. Start with your opening balances as of that date. If you have your trade-wise opening balances, you can start with that date. You can upload your trade-wise opening balances, and then you can upload the historical trade books from 2016 or 2017, and then auto apply the corporate actions. That will take care of a majority of different requirements and does not need you to go back in time and upload multiple different trade books, because most of your there's a good chance that a large majority of your portfolio that you've been holding for a long time has been liquidated, and it is only those few select shares which you've been holding since a long time that you want to import. So typically what we recommend is upload your opening balances from 2016 or 2017 trade wise. Next question, sovereign gold bond schemes, how do you manage them? Again, we'll talk about this as a separate asset class on another time, but yes, MProfit, we do support the import of sovereign gold bond schemes into MProfit. Typically
Normally,
these.
yeah,
Yeah.
normally this will be this asset class like sovereign gold bonds as well as other traded bonds listed publicly in the equity market segment. Those will be a part of your contract notes or trade book files. So along with this normal stock transaction import, also traded bonds can be uploaded. And we do have a separate asset class for that. You can see traded bonds, and we do support sovereign gold bonds and other publicly listed bonds in our list.
Right. So one question is, how do we check a single stock's overall gain loss that has been traded in different months over a period of year? Tanmay, you want to just quickly talk about the stock register or holding period report here?
Yeah, so we provide a specific reports. You can go to the individual portfolio report section and you can go to the advanced section here, which shows holding period as well as stock register report. Holding period shows the number of days you're holding any particular stock. And if you have bought it on a multiple dates, you see a different dates here. And for each purchase date, you see for how many days you're holding that particular stock. So this is one important report, and along with that, we support a stock register report also. This shows the entire buy sell transactions along with the opening and closing balance for any particular stock. So this shows the gain loss information as well. You can customize this report for any specific period, and you will get the gain loss information for that particular period.
Right. So these are two good reports for anyone to use to track your transaction-wise holding period, gain loss, and for obviously the stock register, you can see your list of transactions for each stock, including corporate actions for any time period that you request,
This is
month
one
to month.
important report we recommend if you are giving your reports
Chartered
to the
account.
CA to file the return. So along with capital gain, this is one important report. So CA can quickly refer it. They understand that, okay, what all different transactions had happened in one particular stock. What was the opening balance at the start of the year? What is the closing balance at the end of the year? So they get complete information for any particular stock.
Right. And in the interest of time, I think we'll answer the last question now. How can I make the entry of Reliance Industries and Geo Financial? There are also cost of acquisition to be divided. Great question. We have put out an article on our blog also about this, how to handle the demerger. The good news is for MProfit users, everything is automatic. The simple thing you need to do is use the auto corporate action tool. MProfit will provide the cost of acquisition ratio properly, which is, I believe, 95.32 to 4.68. That is the corporate action cost of acquisition ratio, and it accounts for everything in the demerger properly. So if you are holding Reliance Industry shares before the demerger and you auto apply corporate actions in MProfit, MProfit will take care of everything, including uh, creation of the geo financial shares in your MProfit portfolio, computation of the capital gains, and properly allocating the cost of acquisition to each of the two companies. Nothing manual for you. For desktop users, you can use the bulk tool which Tanmay has talked about. You can refer to a blog post. If we can just share the link to the blog post on this chat, so that anyone who wants to get more information and use the cost of acquisition on MProfit desktop, they can do that. So could you please just share the the blog post link? Thanks. And I think that is the last question that we'll take today. The rest of the questions, thank you so much, and we will try our level best to get to your questions as soon as possible.
Any further queries you have, please reach out to us.
Please reach out to us
Send
directly.
Email to support@mprofit.in. We understand that we could not answer all the questions. So any pending questions, if you feel, you can send it to support@mprofit.in, and our team will get back to you with the answers.
It will be really helpful if you could share your questions. If you feel like we were not able to answer them on this, if you could share them with us also on support@mprofit.in, that will be really helpful. And one last thing I think we didn't talk so much about is the concept of unrealized capital gains. In addition to your capital gain report, we also provide unrealized capital gains. What that is, you can see that on the summary screen, and you can also get a detailed report for this. If you want to see what your capital gain liability would be on your unsold portfolio today, let's say you were hypothetically selling your shares today, and you wanted to see what your notional capital gain would be sorted by both short term and long term, you would be able to generate the unrealized capital gain report and get the details for the same. Similarly, you can also see the unrealized gain on any security on the main summary screen as well. We provide that. So for any unsold quantities, you can clearly see that in the unrealized gain column. So that's just one thing we did not get a chance to cover properly. So that's why we just thought we'd cover it at the end. So that brings us to the end of this webinar. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. Again, we had a fantastic response, and we will definitely be doing more of these sessions. We plan to make this a monthly series to start with, and maybe even make that even more frequent. So please stay tuned for more. We'll be covering more asset classes in detail. We'll be covering the new analytics app in more detail. With the real asset class allocation that we have provided as a new feature. We'll be talking about different broker imports, different asset classes, how you can manage them. We'll be doing a separate webinar in the future for our wealth customers as well, who manage their own clients in MProfit. So please, stay tuned for more. We are loving the fact that people are very interested in this, and we are very grateful for all of you. So thank you for joining today. Please, again, anyone new to MProfit who wants to subscribe, you can use the webinar 0209 code to get a discount on your first MProfit subscription, valid today. If you have any other queries, please do reach out to us at support@mprofit.in. Thank you all so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tanmay. Thank you. Bye.